Hi, welcome back to the channel. This video is about the tiny Sony vlogging camera, the ZV-1F. It's not a camera for me, it might not be a camera for you, but it has some features that should actually be implemented in every single Sony Alpha and FX camera. So let's see what those features actually are. Now, this little camera's screen is going to allow you to do a lot more things than any previous Sony camera. So let's zoom in and see what you can do on the screen. Number one is easy. You can start recording by simply touching the screen. Finally, Sony, thank you. So, like other brands, you just touch the screen on the right spot and it starts recording. You see a nice red color around the screen, which means you are recording. You got a light on front, which you can of course eliminate. This tiny ZV-1F, and please Sony stop using these strange names, this tiny ZV-1F has a 20mm fixed focal length. Wide enough for vloggers, nice for landscapes and architecture, but other people might think, oh, it's not enough for me. But, however, every single Sony camera has a function called clear image zoom, where you're going to zoom on the sensor and lose nearly no quality. On most cameras, you have to put it on the button and then put the camera in JPEG before you can use it. Now this camera, since it only shoots JPEG, has it on the screen. So let's see how it works. You can just touch the screen and you can start zooming immediately. So, well, you got the 20mm lens, but you can use it as a 40mm, and if you go digitally, even 4 times that much. But then you're going to lose quality, of course. Let's see how it works on the screen. Pretty easy, just touch and push. Now it was really strange that when I saw the FX30 and the A7R5, this wasn't implemented. So please Sony, put this on every screen of the new cameras. Other brands have it, it works fine here, so please use it more. It's easy. If you're really into touching your screen, you can also swipe up to open the FM, the function menu. That's something the FX30 has as well. Just like every other new Sony camera, you can use the ZV-1F for live streaming. Simply check USB streaming and plug it into a computer and you're ready to go. Now for subject recognition, you got only animal and human, and animal is only for photo, so the eye autofocus only works for those targets. And product showcase you probably know from the other ZV cameras. If you're going to use this camera for stills, then remember that you only have single shot autofocus or manual focus, no continuous autofocus like the other Alphas and even the ZV-1. But still, here's some samples. The quality is pretty fine. However, this quality was made in JPEG only, because this camera does not shoot RAW. It's only 20 megapixel extra fine JPEGs. So yes, you can make stills or photographs with this camera, but where it really shines is in video. No, it does not have all those high-level specs that actually almost nobody uses, especially all the low-level users, but it has a very decent 4K 8-bit and some very decent slow motion in Full HD. And let's quickly see what it can do in the menu system and give you a few examples, okay? Now you mustn't forget that this is an entry-level camera for beginners, and still this is the 4K quality coming out of it. Pretty decent, right? In a Full HD you can go up to 100 frames per second, and of course in NTSC 120, that's 4 times slow motion. And don't forget that even though everything you see here has been filmed horizontally because it's for YouTube, this camera does everything you have seen also vertically. Bonjour à tous et bienvenue à un nouveau webcast Sony. Comme vous le voyez, là on vous présente le tout nouveau, le tout petit caméra vlog, le ZV-1F avec focale fixe. Naturally, this tiny camera has all the bells and whistles you know from the other cameras. So things like time-lapsing, silent mode, everything is in the menu system, so let's quickly see where to find them. In Sony cameras, time-lapsing is called interval shooting. You can choose the intervals between shots, you can choose a number of shots and even the sensitivity of tracking. Once you've made a great video, you can use the photo capture function to make a still or a thumbnail out of it. You mustn't forget that this is a entry-level camera. This is the smallest of the smallest, and still it's got picture profiles. And then we're gonna do something different. We're gonna change picture profiles while filming. And we've got the S-logs and everything is just neat and sweet. And as you can see, these are the normal ones, the movie ones. These are the Cine ones. Oh, that's another one. Okay, that's the ITU. Here we got the Cine ones. Perfect. Here we got the S-log. Oh, yes, you heard that right. S-log 2 and S-log 3 and Cine are included in this camera, as is HLG. The only thing that's missing is S-Cinetone. If you have ever met me live, you probably noticed my lifelong addiction to Ray-Ban polarized sunglasses. And there's an issue when using these with Sony cameras. So when you're using an alpha camera and you watch the screen with these sunglasses on horizontally, there's no problem, you see everything. But as soon as you tilt the camera, so you want to work vertically for stills or video, you don't see anything anymore. Now, with the ZV-1F, that's the other way around. So when you use it vertically, you see everything. And then you switch to horizontally and bam, nothing left. So really weird. I was really happy to be able to use a Sony camera with my sunglasses vertically, but now, well, it's not working horizontally. So please Sony, make it work. Make all the cameras work in every direction with polarized sunglasses. That's very, very important. As I said at the beginning, these were just a few features that are novel to the ZV-1F. Things that should be implemented in all the other Sony cameras. Now, before you think, oh, those features are something I want, and you run off to buy it, if you make mostly pictures, mostly photos, stills like I do, instead of mostly video, then you might want to consider that this camera only shoots JPEG and not RAW. Now, most people only use JPEG, most people only need JPEG, most people only want JPEG. I prefer RAWs and JPEG, so I can process my RAWs. Now, this is probably not going to be a deal break for the people who buy this camera, so decide for yourself if it's worth it. So I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button below. If you have any questions about the camera or another Sony camera, please leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer them as quickly as possible. And well, continue subscribing to the channel. I was really astonished about it and well, you're helping me motivate to make more videos. And I'm going to leave you all with a photograph of the worst vlogger in the world. Enjoy.